When people ask me where I'm from, I often say I'm from the world. I used to find confusing to identify myself. Spaniard who was born in Soviet Union, Russian who came to Spain. Later in life, I appreciated my unique and privileged situation. I'm a daughter of the children of the war, who was saved by the Red Cross organization from the Spanish Civil War in 1937. My mama was almost 10 years old when she and her older sister and brother, 3 of 7 of the large and poor family in a small village, Peña Castillo, cerca, muy close to Santander, Cantabria, was put in this big truck with a huge red cross on them, saving them from the bomb exploding everywhere. As the little kids, it was really hard and terrifying not to know where they're going, or be separating from their families, or more so to face an imminent death. My papa and his older sister at the age of 11 was saved from Bilbao, País Vasco. His mother raising them by herself and had no more children. And I cannot imagine having kids of my own, what she has to go through and how she was able to let them go. But how they ended up in Soviet Union. Stalin opened metal doors, accepting those poor kids, saving them from the fascist regime of Generalissimo Franco. So they came like this to the country, little kids. There's books written and movies done about this particular period of our history, and yet I cannot comprehend how they survived not only the destruction of their own country, or to be separated from their families, but more so, how they faced a Second World War that hit unexpectedly Soviet Union 5 years later. My mama doesn't like to talk about it at all. And when she does, I can feel an unease and distress, and then it leads to a really quick change of subject. Se acabó. My dad, who passed away a few years ago, used to tell me really funny stories. My favorite was when he and his fellow friends found this huge field full of potatoes that actually saved them that very same winter from starvation in Donetsk, Ural, Siberia. However, they have to run for their lives every time they want to get back for more potatoes because of the locals will just stone them to death. You know the song, run, rabbit, run, the same. So they were aliens on unknown country, far from their families, but close to each other, always finding ways to keep going, strength that I inherited in my DNA. My mama visited me last year at the age of 91 in my hometown, Pittsburgh. Yoo-hoo! She was amazed and really proud of what I achieved as she witnessed my journey that started in 1992, years that I left Moscow, place that I was born and raised. It was really hard to live at the age of 22. And I loved the city so much. But it was really turbulent time. And after seeing tanks going up the street to the Red Square, I feel fortunate to have a dual citizenship. You see, I traveled to Spain my whole life, since I was 3 years old. But visiting the country and living in this, it's two really different things, as I was about to find out really soon. My Spanish was really good, but sometimes it was slightly off, enough for people to start calling me La Rusa, Russian. I found it ironic. When I was living in Moscow and spoke perfect Russian, but because of my name, they used to call me Hispanka, Spaniard. Now, with my perfect Spanish name, I was still a stranger to my own people, my blood people, and to myself. But Spain transformed me and changed my life completely. I found my spirituality. I made peace with God. I rediscovered the meaning of my name, Dolores, and accepted it. And I had an amazing opportunity to finish my medical education that I started in Moscow and obtain my medical degree at Santiago Compostela University. And a beautiful and powerful place, Santiago Compostela, Galicia. All this was possible through the grace of extraordinary couple, Enedina Lameles Gomez and Carlos Lopez Juan, who believed in me when nobody else did and encouraged me, saying, you can do this and more. Wow. So in 2002, I had an amazing opportunity to visit northern Massachusetts as a volunteer and a part of this medical exchange student program through our university and a Clara Barton camp for diabetic girls with my best friend Susana Arias Ribas. We had so much fun. We stayed there 4 weeks in August, and I absolutely fell in love with America. Felt like home, people, everything. We had 2 weekends off for ourselves, and we decided to explore around. So we visited different places. We visited Boston, Cambridge, Mass General, unbelievable, beautiful city. And our last weekend off, we decided to travel and visit New York City. The bus trip was rather long and uncomfortable, and when we arrived, a huge storm unloaded this tropical rain, cleansing the air from the debris still floating in the air after recent catastrophe. We visited the ground zero, and we wept inconsolably, feeling the pain of the nation, another tragic page in our history. Later that day, we stopped by in McDonald's to grab $2 salad, student budget, when this man who was selling a tour to the city approached us, asked us if we're interested. We were more broke than he was. When he found out where we're from, he happily switched to Spanish, as he was from South America. We told him we're medical students, and he looked at my eyes and started telling me about his sister, who's a physician herself, who passed all the United States medical license exams, got the residency in medicine, and now practicing as a physician really happily here. And I fell in my heart. Oh no, more than that. He took a tour card and he read all the information needed to do so. And I fell in my heart that that was my next destination. Susanna thought that I was completely out of my mind. Then I thought maybe I was completely out of my mind. There was no tanks going up the street this time. And who wants to leave Spain? More so, Palma de Mallorca, a beautiful Mediterranean island, Islas Baleares. My mom lives there right now. We have a house. So it took all my courage to follow that sign. And a soft Enedina's voice telling me, Dolores, you can do this and more. For me, changing for another country was like learning the third language. Let's do it. I came to Philadelphia in 2004 with the Visa de Turista, B1 status, valid for 10 years. Oh my goodness. To realize that I only allowed to stay in the country for 6 months. Time to study the language and to pass all my boards. Easy, right? Nope. You need friends, really good ones, and anchors. Those who open the paths. And for me, that was my dear friend, Susanna Grau Butler. She's a peacemaker. She goes to places with wars everywhere, and she brings light and peace. And I would not be surprised if we're going to see her with the Nobel Prize for Peace. She was that person who stabilized me when I came and when I achieved all my goals in 6 months. I remember calling her and saying, Susanna, I found this apartment. I'm sharing it, but it's a huge room, but I don't have anything. And she said, don't worry, girl, I'm coming. Let's go to IKEA. I'll figure out. Suddenly I had a table to study and a bed to leave. I don't need anything more. But then I had to get back to Spain. 6 months, really short period of time. You have to stay there for 2 months. It's a requirement in case you change your mind. So I sold my car to buy another ticket to get back to the States. How many times I can do so? I only had one car. I will never forget the police officer who opened my suitcase, and he started asking me all kinds of questions. Suddenly he saw this nice suit, and the guidebook was saying how to apply for medical residency and how to hold the interview while applying for hospital position. He stopped, looked at me, and asked me, "Are you a doctor?" And then he handed me my passport with the permission to stay for 1 year, saying, "We need people like you here. Good luck with your interviews." That was a huge welcome and a free ticket to find my future, my home, my true love, my family, we have 3 kids, and myself. I became the director of Allegheny Health Network Headache Center in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. In the end, I was in a place where all dreams come true, the United States of America. As a gratitude to all this country give me, we name our firstborn daughter, America, who was born in Philadelphia, the First Nation capital, on Thanksgiving Day. What I learned from my journey, and I'm still learning, is wherever you go, be kind, be grateful, and smile, because when you do so, you show how much you love others, no matter which country you're from. Thank you.